Sometimes a moment arrives in a room full of powerful people that forces everyone present to reconsider what they believed about authority, intelligence, and truth. It does not announce itself. It does not raise its voice. It simply begins as a feeling, a slow, electric shift in the air that tells you something is about to break open. Something that has been buried is about to rise. Something that has been protected by power is about to collapse under the weight of honesty. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments where you are watching from. We would love to see how far this conversation is reaching. It started quietly, almost unremarkably, during a hearing that had already dragged on for 2 long hours. Senator Josh Hawley had been doing what he had refined into an art form, using the prestige of his Ivy League education as both shield and sword. Every question he asked carried an unspoken message. I am smarter than you. I am more qualified than you. I am more legitimate than you. And in that chamber, where egos often outweigh evidence, few dared challenge him directly. Yet there are days when arrogance digs its own grave. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett had been invited as an expert witness, her reputation built not on elite credentials but on grit, persistence, and a record of real legal work. Hawley saw her presence as an opportunity, the way his shoulders leaned back, the way his smirk curled, the way his fingers tapped the desk as though warming up for a performance. He was ready to belittle her publicly, ready to showcase what he believed was intellectual superiority, ready to remind the world that he had attended Stanford and Yale. When he spoke her name, it carried the icy politeness of someone who viewed respect as a favor he bestowed rather than a right anyone else possessed. Congresswoman Crockett, he began, his voice flavored with the condescension only those obsessed with their pedigree ever truly master. He questioned her education. He questioned her right to assess judicial nominees. He mocked her law school. He framed himself as the guardian of elite legal scholarship, as though constitutional interpretation belonged only to those who had walked the halls of the Ivy League. The room grew uneasy. Some chuckled. Others winced. Cameras zoomed in on Hawley's confident expression, capturing every drop of smug assurance. That would haunt him began with a sound almost too soft to notice. A briefcase unlatching. Crockett did not raise her voice. She did not rush. She simply reached into her bag with the calm of someone who knows the storm is already in motion, and all she has to do is open the door. She placed a folder on the table. A single motion, a single second, yet it hit the room like a warning bell. The folder lay flat, its cover facing the cameras, its title printed in bold, unflinching letters, Hawley, academic fraud. The gallery shifted, senators leaned forward, staffers froze, and Hawley, so certain of his dominance moments ago, felt a fracture appear in the carefully crafted armor of his persona. Crockett opened the folder with the precision of a surgeon preparing for an incision that would expose more than one man's secrets. She did not look angry. She looked steady, measured, controlled, the kind of control that speaks of truth, not vengeance. She began by addressing his earlier remarks, and as she spoke, every word felt like a thread being pulled from a tapestry Hawley had spent decades weaving. She spoke of documents, records, investigations, files that had been buried, evidence that had been dismissed, testimonies that had been silenced. She spoke of years of deception, of achievements claimed but never earned. She spoke with a tone so even, so devastatingly calm, it made every person in the room brace themselves. And that was before she revealed the first piece of evidence, a certified transcript, not the polished version Hawley had touted in speeches, not the embellished biography he had repeated for donors and voters, the real transcript, the one that told the actual story. His GPA was not exceptional, his honor is non-existent, his celebrated thesis flagged for plagiarism, the committee reports, the internal investigation, the donation that miraculously followed the suspension of disciplinary action. Each detail hit the room, like another crack in a stone wall finally giving way. Hawley tried to speak, tried to dispute the documents, tried to breathe life back into a narrative that was collapsing before his eyes, but his voice trembled, his words faltered. Even he seemed to realize that denial would not save him now. Crockett continued. She introduced an affidavit from a former professor, a confession, a statement of guilt from a man who admitted he had been pressured to pass work he knew was plagiarized, a man who had watched Hawley rise to power on a foundation he knew was rotten. The room no longer felt like a hearing, it felt like a reckoning. Then came the evidence from Yale, the article that had launched Hawley's legal career, the one he waved around as proof of brilliance, the one that opened the doors to a Supreme Court clerkship. Crockett revealed that it had been ghostwritten by a classmate. Not rumored, not speculated, documented. Emails, drafts, metadata, payment records, every layer of the lie peeled back. And then the scandal deepened. Holly had not been merely dishonest. He had orchestrated a system, an academic marketplace, where integrity was optional and ethics were expendable. He had facilitated cheating for profit. He had built an entire underground economy of academic dishonesty, turning his classmates' financial struggles into personal gain. Spreadsheets, testimonies, payment logs, price lists. He sold exam answers like merchandise. He traded in essays like currency. He leveraged connections like weapons. The room shifted again. Outrage, now mixing with disbelief. Then Crockett revealed the most explosive detail of all. Not only had Holly deceived universities, not only had he misrepresented his achievements, he had used these fraudulent credentials to obtain jobs, salaries, appointments, book deals, and political power. Millions of dollars earned through deception. Years of influence built on falsified legitimacy. A career crafted not through excellence but through manipulation. Crockett then turned the focus back to herself, not to boast, but to contrast truth with fraud. She displayed her own record openly. Grades earned, articles written, cases argued, exams passed. Her accomplishments, real and verifiable, stood in stark opposition to Holly's manufactured image. And in that moment, the arrogance that had fueled Holly's attack collapsed entirely. His face drained of certainty. His movements became erratic. His hands shook. His attorney whispered frantically. His colleagues subtly pushed their chairs inches away. And came the final blow. A letter from Yale. A notification from Stanford. Both institutions had opened formal proceedings to revoke Holly's degrees. The Missouri bar had launched an investigation. His foundation was not simply cracking, it was dissolving. The room erupted, not in applause, but in the kind of chaos that comes when truth detonates in a place built on reputation and decorum. Reporters scrambled. Senators demanded explanations. Phones buzzed like angry insects. And there sat Holly, speechless, as the first time in years. Stripped of the language of superiority, stripped of the illusion of brilliance, stripped of the shield of prestige. A chair asked for his response. He did not defend himself. He did not deny. He did not fight. He invoked the Fifth Amendment, a choice that echoed louder than any confession. The consequences did not. Hours. The academic institutions announced public reviews. Legal bodies moved swiftly. Commentators exploded. Social media ignited. The story spread like wildfire. And a nation watched the unmasking of a man who had built an empire on stolen words, purchased intellect, and borrowed prestige. Yet the moment that stayed with people was not the evidence, nor the shock, nor the political fallout. It was the image of Jasmine Crockett, sitting upright, composed, unwavering, proving that genuine intelligence does not need Ivy League validation, and real integrity demands no permission. Her strength did not come from pedigree, it came from truth. And truth, when spoken with courage, has the power to dismantle even the most carefully constructed lies. If this story moved you, challenged you, or inspired you, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. And before you go, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from, and what moment in this hearing stood out to you the most?